The brake pads and rotors were recently replaced on this 2017 Nissan Armada, but they still squeak really bad. They don't squeak when you're using the brakes, only when you're cruising. Sometimes if a vehicle sits long enough, there can be excessive buildup on the pads and you just need to do a heavy braking to get rid of it. In this case, I suspect the slide pins of the caliper are sticking. Before doing any work, secure the vehicle with the parking brake or a wheel stop. A sticky slide pin can cause the brakes to stick, causing the brake pad to make contact with the rotor at a constant. In order to lubricate the components that we need in the brake, we need to take the wheel off, get to the caliper. Inside the caliper, there's 2 slide pins that allow the caliper to brake and not brake, allow it to move and make contact with the rotor. This 17mm bolt holds on the slide pin. Remove that 17mm bolt and you can slide the rotor, revealing one of the 2 slide pins, and we're going to remove it. And I was surprised actually that there was grease still on it. It was pretty difficult to remove. It was pretty dirty. So I cleaned it off, and I'm going to do this about 5, 6, 7 times and get out all that old lube as much as I can. You're not going to get it all. And this should have been done with the brake job. If you look at any of my other videos, I use this AGS Sill Glyde. It's a great product and quiets brake components. So I'm going to get a nice dab on this slide pin and then replace it. I will link to the product in the video description. Make sure that boot is fully seated, covering the slide pin so that no dirt gets in there. I'm going to also clean off the back of the brake pad. I'm going to put just a tiny thin layer of this Sill Glyde on the back of the brake pad as well to prevent any noise possibly coming from that. And you can see I actually wiped it down with a paper towel after I put some on because I had put too much on. I don't want any to spill on the rotor or get any oil or any fingers on the rotor. And if you do, just use some brake clean and clean it off. So I'm just doing both sides of the rear of the brake pad with the Sill Glyde, cleaning them off first. Now we can mount this back, simply pushing in the slide pin, realigning the caliper, putting in that 17mm bolt. Be sure not to cross thread these bolts. Get it nice and snug and then tighten it up to 53 foot-pounds of torque is what I found. I usually go a little bit above that, given that it's been used before. Pay attention that this slide pin does get seated correctly. Otherwise, it might not be secure, but the torque spec was 53 foot-pounds for a 2018 Titan. I'm going to do the same thing to the bottom. And I'm doing one at a time so I don't actually have to remove the caliper and hang it. I'm just doing this so I can do one slide pin at a time. I'm going to repeat the process, getting out all the old lubricant as much as I can. After I feel like I can't get that much out, I'm going to coat it with the Sill Glyde, getting it everywhere, and then making sure the boot is fully seated on the slide pin. Normally, this is where the wear bar indicator would be, which normally squeaks when the brakes are low, but the brakes are new, so that was not making contact causing the squeak. It was the constant contact between the rotor and the brake pad. So hopefully this lubricant will help it free up when we're not activating the brakes. Again, 53 foot-pounds on these slide pin bolts. Using the brake clean to clean off any sort of oil or anything that might have got on the rotor. Make sure you snug the wheel back on and torque down the lugs to spec. These torque specs might not be exactly accurate. I did get it off of a 2018 Nissan Titan. They should be the same. It called for 98 foot-pounds. I don't mind going a little over on the lug nuts. Just making sure to tighten them and that they are secure. I normally scavenge the internet for torque specs on an entire vehicle with a list, but I couldn't find one for this vehicle. Still looking for it. Cleaning and lubricating slide pins is something that should be done with every brake job to prevent this from happening, and premature wear of the brake components, because if it's always making contact, it's wearing down those components faster than it needs to be. And in this case, glaze over and cause noise. So I'm just doing the other side now. Again, same torque spec, same process, just doing the other side of the front axle. Lining the brake pads up with the rotor, making sure it's secure and that you don't hit the slide pin and that it is oriented correctly. Now I can release the parking brake. And before I go and drive it, since the brake caliper did move a little bit, we're going to pump the brakes to make sure that it is seated correctly and that we don't have a runaway vehicle, which probably wouldn't happen in this case. But now when we drive it, there's no brake noise and I think that was the issue. So if you found this video helpful, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Any additional links or products used will be in the video description. If you have any questions at all, please leave a comment and I'll do my best to get back to you.